HOA sent a fake officer to intimidate me. Too bad I'm a certified U.S. Marshal. The sun hung low over Willow Creek, painting the town's cracked asphalt in hues of gold and amber. I stood outside my office, badge clipped to my belt, the weight of my U.S. Marshal star grounding me against the chaos about to unfold. My name's Riley Kane, and I'd moved to this quiet corner of Montana to escape the noise of city life, hoping to protect and serve in peace. But peace, it seemed, was a luxury I couldn't afford. Not when Karen Whitaker decided I was her enemy. It started 3 weeks ago at a community meeting. The HOA, led by Karen, had been pushing to enforce strict new rules. No fences over 3 feet, no non-native plants, no unsightly vehicles. I'd spoken up, calmly explaining that federal law protected my right to keep my work truck parked in my driveway. Karen's face had turned crimson, her voice shrill as she accused me of undermining community values. The room fell silent, but I saw the glint in her eyes, resentment that someone dared challenge her reign. Days later, the harassment began. My mailbox was stuffed with anonymous letters, my tires slashed, my lawn signs stolen. I suspected Karen but had no proof. Then, this morning, a man in a crisp police uniform knocked on my door. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with a badge that gleamed too brightly. "Officer Daniels," he introduced himself, voice clipped. "You're in violation of HOA regulations. Step outside." I squinted at his badge. Something was off: the font, the seal. As a U.S. Marshal, I'd seen enough counterfeits to spot one. "Mind if I see your ID?" I asked, keeping my tone neutral. His eyes flickered, just for a second, but it was enough. This wasn't a cop. This was Karen's doing. "Step outside now," he repeated, hand twitching toward his belt. My pulse quickened, but I kept my cool, stepping onto the porch, my own sidearm visible. "You're not a cop," I said, voice low. "Who sent you?" That's when Karen appeared, storming across my lawn, phone in hand, recording. "You're done, Riley," she shrieked. "You think you can defy the HOA? I'll have you arrested." Her voice cracked with triumph, but her eyes betrayed panic when she saw my badge, the real one, glinting in the sunlight. "Karen," I said, stepping closer. "Impersonating an officer is a federal crime, so is hiring someone to do it." The fake cop, Daniels, or whatever his name was, paled, his bravado crumbling. I grabbed his badge, confirming my suspicions. A cheap replica, probably bought online. He stammered. "She paid me. Said it was just a prank." Karen's face twisted, her phone dropping to her side. "This is outrageous," she spat. "You're the one breaking the law." But the crowd gathering on the street, neighbors I'd helped, people I'd protected, murmured otherwise. Their whispers stung her more than my words ever could. Then came the twist I didn't see coming. Old Mrs. Larson, the quiet widow who'd lived next door for decades, shuffled forward, her cane tapping the ground. "I saw it all," she said, voice trembling but firm. "Karen's been paying kids to vandalize your place, Riley. Got proof on my security camera." The crowd gasped. Mrs. Larson, the last person anyone expected to step into the fray, had just turned the tide. Karen's empire of control was unraveling, and the betrayal in her eyes as she glared at Mrs. Larson was raw, almost tragic. I cuffed the fake cop, reading him his rights as Karen screamed about lawsuits and conspiracies. But the truth was undeniable, and the weight of her actions crashed down. She'd built her power on fear, manipulating neighbors into compliance. But now the town saw her for what she was: a bully who'd gone too far. As I led the imposter to my truck, Karen stood alone, her phone useless, her authority shattered. The aftermath was bitter. Karen faced charges for conspiracy and fraud, her HOA presidency revoked. The fake cops spilled everything, revealing a network of small-time grifters she'd hired to enforce her rules. Willow Creek began to heal, neighbors rebuilding trust, but the scars remained. I couldn't help but feel a pang of sympathy for Karen, not for her actions, but for the desperation that drove her to such lengths. Power, I realized, could twist even the most ordinary hearts. That night, as I sat on my porch, the stars above felt colder. I'd won, But at what cost? The town was safer, but the rift Karen created lingered. Mrs. Larson's courage had saved the day, yet I wondered how many others had stayed silent, complicit in fear. Justice had prevailed, but it tasted bittersweet, like ash on the wind. What would you do when faced with a community divided by fear and lies? Share your thoughts on where justice lies in such conflicts.